So boom, I'm back with another video. We got a crazy video right here, twin. That's a little crazy one right here, man. We got the detective realized the nurse is actually the killer. Oh my god. I ain't gonna lie, boy. You know, white people, they get crazy when they do some crazy ass shit. But let's get to the video. Let's do it.
This is part that I haven't told the doctors. How about 9:30? I gave him a dose.
Oh yeah, she did it. Look at her, bro. She did it, bro. She did it.
50 milligrams of insulin, non-diabetic. I believe he died the next day.
This was the moment detectives realized 50-year-old Elizabeth Wetlaufer, a seemingly innocent nurse, was actually the secret cause for multiple deaths. On the 11th of August, Jamie Silcox, a dementia patient, was found dead in his bed at Crescent Care Nursing Home.
What?
With an autopsy coming up with nothing, his death was ruled as natural causes. But over the next few years, the same nursing home discovered patient after patient had died under the exact same circumstances. For 8 years, the cause was a complete mystery to police and doctors alike, until September 2016, when Elizabeth Wetlaufer turned herself in to reveal the horrifying truth behind these mysterious deaths. Liz turned herself in at a mental health...
See, bro, and that's one thing about it, like, they need to stop putting weird people in facility homes for elder people, bro. Cause like some be wrong people in the head, bro, and they don't. It's weird.
Clinic, who promptly contacted police. Hours later, Liz was brought into the interrogation room.
So I just want to go through, like I said, a couple formalities, cover a few little things off. If you wish to speak to a lawyer at any time, we can make it happen whenever you like.
The interrogation starts with Liz being read her rights. Liz has the right to a lawyer and the right to remain silent. However, it's looking doubtful she'll be exercising either of these rights, as her detective asks a few questions to get to know her.
Back at Meadow Park, what was your addiction?
Hydromax.
And how much were you using?
I was a binge user, so I would use what I could get a hold of.
Okay.
By stealing it from the patient.
Liz worked as a nursing home worker and had access to all her patients' medicine. For years, Liz had been stealing a drug named hydromorphone, a strong painkiller similar to the likes of morphine, and using it secretly to deal with stress. But it turns out addiction wasn't the only mental issue she was dealing with.
So as far as your latest position at St. Elizabeth,
yeah,
that was your last position as a RN, is that
yes,
correct?
It was.
Okay.
Yes.
And you said you resigned from there?
Yes.
Okay. What brought you to that?
That's where things get a little crazy.
Okay.
This is part that I haven't told the doctors. When my ex and I broke up in 2007, I was already taking the medication for my borderline personality disorder. And I was so angry. And it was like a voice said inside me, I'll use you, don't worry about it.
Liz has struggled with borderline personality disorder for years and took medication to try and suppress it. This meant she hadn't let it affect her much, at least not until 2007, where this would change in a horrifying way. The detective then decides to ramp up the pressure, and the interrogation quickly turns from an interrogation to a confession.
So, Mr. Silcox, it says here you were working a double shift from 3 till 7, right?
3 p.m. to 7 a.m.
In Woodstock?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me about your knowledge of James and your daily interactions during a shift with him.
I didn't see him every time. He wasn't always my patient. I just knew from what people had said that he would grab the nurse's breasts and buttocks, and he would say horribly inappropriate things about his wife.
What?
Now he was there, just would say different things, and he did touch me inappropriately once.
Jamie Silcox was an 84-year-old veteran with dementia being cared for by Liz and the team. But one evening, care would turn to carnage as Liz began to fill with rage.
Look at her, bro. Just take a good look at her, gang.
And made a choice that would change the course of her life forever.
How about 9:30? I gave him a dose of 50 milligrams of insulin, non-diabetic, and gave him an insulin shot. Throughout the night, he was yelling out, "I love you," and "I'm sorry." Not to me, but just you could hear him calling out in this room, and that's what he was calling out. And then at 3:30, the PSWs came to me and said that he was gone. The doctor came in and said that his cause of death was from an embolism due to his post-hip. He'd had a hip surgery. Doctor ruled an embolism due to post-hip surgery.
Insulin overdoses occur when someone takes more insulin than they need, regardless of if they're diabetic or not. Too much insulin will dramatically lower the body's blood sugar level, which can cause dizziness, loss of consciousness, and of course, death. What's more concerning, though, is how difficult it can be to identify it as the cause of death. And even in cases where it is identified, it's very difficult to prove it was an overdose of insulin that caused it in the first place. This wasn't even the first time she'd attempted this either. In 2007, she administered 2 other inordinate doses of insulin, but they failed to kill the patients. But while this was the first time she was successful, it was far from the last.
Maurice. How did you pronounce Maurice's last name?
Granat.
Is it Granat? Okay.
He was another one who liked to grab her
Her
up.
big ass need to, bro.
Nah. He was sometimes a patient of mine. See, at that time, I didn't have a set floor that I worked on. I worked on all the different floors of the nurse, kind of filling in. So, one afternoon I was working with him and he did grab me. And again, I got that feeling inside that this is his time to go.
So you telling me? So did she just not say the last dude they was talking about, James? He was grabbing and touching other people, nurses' butt, right? Just not her. Her second patient, he touching people butt, and now he touched. Bro, what is going on here? Am I lost? Am I tripping?
And I believe he died the next day.
And what was his reaction to receiving this insulin?
Again, it was just kind of like, oh, okay. I just said, the doctor wants you to have a vitamin shot. That's what I usually say.
Liz had now begun to refine her method, telling the victim it was just a vitamin shot, and had even hinted towards a motive.
And again, I got that feeling inside that this is his time to go.
Each time she thought about killing somebody, she felt a deep, intense feeling in her stomach that implied God wanted that person back, and that their time...
Hell no. She up in the head. She's sick, bro. They need to take her sick ass to the goddamn what is it called? The mental health for whatever the shit is, bro. She need to go, bro. What? God or the devil or whatever wanted me to do it, bro. Who? There's some folks up fast people in this world, bro.
The
I'm
different
telling you,
times
gang.
that I have caused people's deaths or caused them discomfort through the insulin. I believe it was the influence of that voice or whatever it was. It wasn't a voice in my head, it was a voice in here. So, but yeah, I just had
That big ass belly shit. They probably do talk to her. But still though, you fucked up in the head though. Like that ain't cool,
the
bro.
sense after my marriage broke up that God was going to use me for something. And then after a while, I started to really wonder after some of the murders if it was God or if it was the devil fooling me.
Did you feel like you were doing the right thing for these people?
No. I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't what was right for them.
While people with BPD can often exhibit impulsive behavior and disturbed patterns of thinking, it's uncommon for patients to be affected the way Liz was. Many BPD patients may experience brief or prolonged episodes of strange experiences, such as hearing voices and feeling compelled to harm themselves or others, but it's exceedingly rare for them to act on them. It's likely her behavior was owing more to the antisocial personality disorder she was diagnosed with later on. Those affected with ASPD are often observed to have a severe disregard for the law and the feelings of others. They also often find it harder to control their anger and refuse to let other people stand in the way of their reckless behavior. Neither one of these conditions are solely responsible for Liz's behavior. It was likely a combination of the two that planted the idea in her mind and then allowed her to go through with it with little resistance.
So Gladys, so this takes us to November of 2011 at Crescent Care. It says here Gladys was a type 2 diabetic and had dementia. How old do you think Gladys was?
92.
92? Okay. Tell me a little bit about Gladys. What was she like when you cared for her?
Well, when I first started caring for her, she was walking and talking, and she had quite the
This
spirit.
is weird.
She once punched a man because she killed him.
Oh my God, what she finna say next? What the next patient finna do next? The first person, James, he ain't do shit to her. He was touching other nurse. The second patient, whatever his name was, he ain't do shit. He just touched her. Third is the lady. Now she's saying that she punched her. Gang, what's gonna be next? The next patient gonna goddamn slap you? I mean, shit, what is next, bro? Like,
Telling one of the gentlemen, no, you can't
This
push
is
your wife
weird.
around, you have to come with us. And she turned around and she said, you can't treat a woman like that. Boom!
And hit the man.
And hit the man. So then we're all in a state of trying to keep them from fighting with each other and trying to keep them from hurting us.
Right.
Yeah, she was very spunky. But she went downhill fast.
Did she?
Eventually, she had dementia, didn't take her pills well, didn't eat well, very stubborn woman. And as always, one evening I just got that red surging feeling that she was going to be the one. And gave her insulin overdose.
Did you ever get that feeling outside of work?
No, never.
No. Did you ever get that feeling going to work, knowing that something was going to happen that shift?
No, it always happened at work.
So, if I were to use the phrase spur of the moment, would it be something that you just have that feeling come on? Or
Yeah, I guess you
would
could
it
say
build
that
up?
for a moment, but it usually start happening, focused on one patient, and then I would feel that red surging, which is what made me think it was God. Which I'm so embarrassed.
Like I said, I'm not here to judge you. Right?
I know.
Right?
One of the most strange things about Liz is how casual she is throughout the entire confession. Not only is she happy to tell the detectives all the details she can remember about the murders themselves, but also laughs and tells stories about the victims the entire time.
she's crazy.
However, she also admits to feeling embarrassed about thinking the feeling was God, showing that she feels as though she has a strong personal image to uphold, but has a complete lack of remorse for her victims. This thought process is indicative of a sociopath, but no personality tests or analyses have ever reinforced this idea.
September or October of 07.
Yeah,
And then Helen was 2011.
yeah. Helen, I don't remember a lot about. She was very quiet, very determined, just seemed to be waiting to die.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I had that feeling that, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a bit of a fuss about her that night because she was very lucid.
Yo, what in the bro? Why do we have people like this? Like, bro, I don't get it, bro. Like, why do we have people like this in this world, bro? Like, this shit is weird. This is very weird, bro. What do you mean? You think it was time for her to, bro?
And we talked about how much she liked blueberry pie and ice cream.
Okay.
So on my break, I went to Walmart. I got a small blueberry pie and some ice cream and brought it to her, and she ate 3 or 4 bites.
Yes.
And then that night, I overdosed her. Like I said, I had that feeling that it was her time to go.
She a grimy ass bitch. She grimy as fuck. Man, you can't, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, don't take your people to no nursing home, bro. Don't do none of that weird shit. Cause soon you take your people to your elderly people to a nursing home, bro, it's like weird motherfuckers like her. I'm not saying everybody weird, but it's like you don't know who good and who bad. Like, this is the reason I never put my grandma or my granddad in no goddamn nursing home, bro. I would never. That's dead.
What do you mean by that? Do you think she was towards the end of her life at that point?
No, that she was the person to go to.
And that was in your mind, in your stomach?
Yeah.
Where was that feeling?
In my chest area. And after I did it, I got that
Shit.
laughter.
When would you feel that laughter? Would you feel it
Sick,
right
bro.
after you injected it, or once the person passed away?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
As well as the feeling in her stomach before the murder, Liz also mentions feeling as though there's laughing coming from her chest. Given that it happens both as she's administering the dose and after she hears the victim is dead, this feeling is likely just an exaggerated feeling of gratification from knowing that her job has been completed. Psychopaths are thought to have a severe case of ASPD, and studies have shown that psychopaths also have a much stronger reaction to immediate gratification. This is what compels psychopaths to make more impulsive decisions, as they value the reward more than an unaffected person. And it's possible this just manifests in Liz as a more physical manner than usual, causing the almost euphoric laughing sensation.
Just out of curiosity, how much insulin would it take to kill someone that wasn't a diabetic? Or
I don't know.
you don't know that?
No.
You didn't know that as a nurse, that this amount? Or?
No, there is no set amount.
Okay. And I just simply just don't know that answer.
There is no set amount.
Okay. Different people would react differently to different amounts, is that fair to say?
Yes.
And would it obviously make a difference if they were diabetic or not a diabetic?
Yeah.
You don't say a lot of negative things about Helen here. Did you get along with her okay? Did she ever do anything to harm you or?
No, she was very quiet. It was just, I got that feeling that she's next to the time, so.
Liz had no problems with Helen, and
Bro, why you ain't get a message in your stomach that it's time for you to go? Like, why you ain't commit, bro? Like, why you ain't get that type of laughter or that type of voice in your big ass stomach? Like,
even went out of her way to get her favorite food before killing her.
Oh,
this creates a strange
ew.
dynamic where she obviously feels some form of remorse both before and after the murder, but still goes through with it without hesitation. But of course, the biggest show of remorse.
But they need to get that bitch life in prison, and without parole. Like, they need to give her life in prison, bro. Like, she's sick. She is sick as fuck. If they don't give her life, they don't get her 40 years or more. This video is a joke.
Was when she decided to turn herself in the first place. Something that's understandable for a neurotypical person who's committed maybe 1 or 2 crimes, but almost completely unheard of when it comes to serial killers who have operated over the span of multiple years. She stated that she does understand the difference between right and wrong and never claimed to take pleasure from the murders, saying that she felt terrible after every single one and even tried to reach out for help on a few occasions.
Imagine it. Does it feel like a weight off your shoulders?
Oh, look how she walk. Bro, look how she walk, bro. She walks slow as shit. It's like she walking like damn, I can't
help
name
on a few
it,
occasions.
Bro, look how she walk.
Does it feel like a weight off your shoulders?
It took her 2 years just to
So then
get
you've been
right.
carrying a burden for quite some time.
And I tried to get help.
Look
Well,
how she walk.
sometimes it takes a few attempts to
It took her 2
finally
years to
commit
come.
to it, right?
5
I
years
had
to
a
get that.
pastor that I told
And
me
6
prayed
years
over
to
me
sit
and told me I'd
down.
be
My
fine.
big ass.
And that was God's grace. And then
When was that?
that was Halloween 2013.
And you kind of divulged to what had happened to you to that point in your life with
Yes.
involving these people.
Yes.
Okay. And where was that?
That was here in town.
Liz then went on to confess to 8 murders in total, as well as attempting it on 6 more people.
Oh, hell no. If they don't give this bitch the life, bro, I swear to God, bro.
Some within just days of each other. She'd given into the urges for 8 years in total, all the while knowing what she did was wrong, and frankly, disgusting. It took her until 2016 to finally head to a mental health and addiction institute to confess.
But you know what they gonna do? I promise I did not pre-watch this video, but you know what they gonna do though? They gonna give her a mental health institution or whatever, and they gonna probably give her like 3 years in jail. They probably ain't gonna even like take her to jail for like, she ain't gonna get that much time, bro. When they think you crazy like that, they ain't gonna give you like jail time or prison time for it. They might give you a little time, but they really want you to recover so you can come back to the free world. This is weird.
And write up the 4-page documents the detective has been reading from.
Okay. We're gonna wrap things up, but here's what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay. And part of this is gonna be up to you. What are your plans going forward from here?
Going forward from here, I want to go home.
Okay.
I want to have a good night's sleep.
Okay.
Oh.
I want to spend Thanksgiving weekend with my family.
Okay.
And I want to be available to the police at any time they need me. And if I have to come back for trial, I have to come back for trial.
Unfortunately, Thanksgiving with her family is far from where she was heading. Instead, she was formally charged with 8 counts of murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, and 2 counts of aggravated assault. In 2017, she waived her right to a preliminary hearing and confessed in court to all challenges. On the 26th of June 2016, Elizabeth Wetlaufer was sentenced to 8 consecutive life sentences.
That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? Ooh, she ain't never getting out, boy. She killed 8 people and they gave her 8 consecutive life thirds. Oh my God, you ain't never coming out, bitch. You're locked in there. They finna lock the key on your ass. You done.
Ensuring the only good night's sleep she'll be getting for the rest of her life will be behind bars.
Ooh, she fried, man.
This is part that I
She is Fried.